Fear. That petrifying force that paralyzes you and prevents you from taking action. It's the impeding wall of anxiety, resistance, and terror. Given its nature, we can easily succumb to it, become enslaved by it. Once we fall victim to fear, it's very much impossible to accomplish anything your heart desires, because fear will either stone you to the ground or make you flee for your life. But those things are only the negative aspects of fear. Like with most things in life, fear has its counterpart, its polar opposite, that doesn't disarm but empowers you instead. It's courage. If fear were to be the Joker or any other villain of Gotham City, then courage would be Batman, the Dark Knight. They're both so dependent of each other's existence that they need one another to have any ground for meaning in the first place. The Batsuit would stay in the closet unless there wasn't a dire need for justice. Likewise, the Clown of Gotham seeks to summon the Dark Knight to play by creating terror and causing fear to enter the minds of drifting souls. Fear is a low vibrational energy because it's based on purely maintaining one's own survival. Fear is ego that grasps onto things that support its narrow world construct. Everything that's outside of the ego's circle of influence ought to be kept away. The mechanism or the henchman to do so is fear. To overcome fear, you need to find bravery in your heart and summon courage. It's the trait of being able to act in spite of fear and pierce through the ranks of its enemy by taking massive action. Courage cannot exist without fear. Batman would have never picked up the cloak unless there was dire necessity for deliverance. If fear were to rule Gotham, the city and its people would become slaves to tyranny, fall victim to anxiety, and feel turmoil for the rest of their lives. There would be greater suffering.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
The Dark Knight rises only when fear is running rampant already. It's a cat and mouse game where the roles are constantly in shift. Sometimes fear possesses the upper hand, which makes you paralyzed by it, whereas at others it's courage that has increased in power and is able to overcome the opposing force. But courage itself is possessed by its own nature as well. Although on a higher vibrational frequency than fear, courage still experiences turmoil and resistance. The Dark Knight is brave and assertive, but he's as scared as any other person in Gotham. It's those feelings of anxiety, sorrow, and anger that give him power in the first place. His entire meaning for existence is based on fighting fear, and in order to do so, he needs fear to exist and thrive as well. The Dark Knight is a slave to fear like any other. You need to be scared before you can be brave, and that's what men are. They have braveness in their hearts, and they take courageous action towards the ranks of fear. In fact, fear was the one that gave birth to the Dark Knight in the first place. As a child, Bruce fell into a well and was overtaken by dozens of bats. Then his parents died, and the kid was traumatized, paralyzed, and overtaken by fear. After deciding to confront his fears, he merged together with it. He became the Bat. That's the solution here. To overcome resistance, you must not run away from it. You must charge right into darkness and fight it. Every moment of that battle you're afraid. Afraid for your own life, those of other people, and afraid that if you are not victorious, if you fail and lose, fear would win and thus annihilate the city, make it subject to the tyranny of ego, and destroy everything that's beautiful and brings joy to this world. So, it's a constant battle. A war between the guardians of what we humans consider good or righteous with the forces of darkness. Darkness that would swallow everything unless there be someone who would stand on its path, say no, and fight back. However, there's the danger of falling into darkness. The entire existence of courage is mutually dependent of the presence of fear, and if the Dark Knight can't come to terms with his own shadow, he will forever be followed by it. The Dark Knight is still a child deep inside. He's tired and scared, as are we all. But he chooses not to succumb to fear and rises from the depths of darkness to see light once again. He's obsessed with fear, but he doesn't fall victim to it. He decides to stand for what he knows deep down is right and protects that vision of how he would like the world to be. There wouldn't be courage without fear, and you will never fully overcome it. As you fight it, you're creating counter-resistance, which is a force that feeds fear. Thus it will gain strength. Even if you do manage to defeat it at one instance, it will be pushed back into darkness, where it will recover, regain its strength, and come back stronger than before. When it does happen, the Dark Knight is forced to put on his mask again and find bravery in his heart. Fear is always alongside courage. To be brave, you need to be scared. The Dark Knight is the guardian that endures and faces fear when there is no one else to pick up the cloak. Whenever you yourself come across fear, remember, it's only by picking up the cloak and facing it will you be able to rise from darkness. Succumbing to it or running away would only increase its forcefulness over you, whereas charging into its ranks is the only way of being victorious. Although it's a fleeting moment, but experiencing light and freedom for even just a shallow breath makes it worthwhile. Fear will never go away. You just have to give more strength to courage and choose to stand for something greater than yourself. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. My name is Siim. Stay courageous, stay empowered.